Okay, trying to stand out on Instagram. It's it can feel like wrestling an octopus sometimes.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on, so much competition for eyeballs.
Totally. And all the advice out there, it's like, where do you even start? It can be really overwhelming.
Exactly. It's feel like you're drowning in information.
Yeah.
So today we're doing a deep dive that's, well, it's designed to be your shortcut. We want to cut through all that noise.
And focus on one specific thing that's actually super powerful, but maybe a bit underused.
Precisely. We're talking about the strategic use of hashtags.
Yeah, we've gathered a whole bunch of sources, really looking into how using hashtags the right way can give your Instagram profile a serious boost.
Right. So our mission here is to pull out the core strategies, the really actionable tips from all this material we reviewed. We want you to walk away actually understanding how to use hashtag tactics for real growth, real engagement.
And, speaking of boosting your profile, it's interesting. Our sources actually point to resources like rapidboost.net. Yeah, a website that specifically helps with boosting social media profiles, offering things like consultations, data-driven strategies, that kind of thing.
Huh. Okay. Good to know. So let's dive into what these sources say hashtags actually are, fundamentally, because they're more than just trendy symbols, right?
Oh, much more. The sources are pretty clear on this. Think of them less like decorations and more like signposts, or maybe even mini search engines right there inside Instagram.
Signposts, like pointing people to your content.
Exactly. They're tools for discoverability, pure and simple.
And how does that work with the famous Instagram algorithm?
Well, that's the crucial part. The algorithm uses these hashtags to understand what your content is about, its relevance, its topic.
Okay.
So if someone often interacts with posts tagged, say, hashtag minimalist home, the algorithm learns they like that topic. Then it's more likely to show your post if you've also used that relevant tag.
Ah, okay. So it's about connecting your content to the people already looking for that kind of stuff.
Precisely. And that's why the sources really hammer home the importance of using targeted niche hashtags, not just the huge generic ones everyone uses.
Right. You gave the example of hashtag design versus something more specific.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you make furniture, hashtag design is, well, it's okay, but it's massive. Using something like hashtag interior design inspiration or even hashtag handcrafted furniture gets you in front of people who are actively looking for that specific thing.
People may be closer to actually buying or getting inspired for a project, not just browsing millions of posts.
Right. Much more targeted. The intent is different.
That makes a lot of sense. And there was a statistic about this, wasn't there? About the impact.
Yeah, pretty compelling. Posts that have at least one hashtag, just one, average about 12.6% more engagement than posts with none.
Wow, over 12% just for adding one relevant tag? That's significant.
It really is. And it all comes back to that discoverability point. It opens your content up to people who don't follow you yet, but who are genuinely interested because they follow or search for those specific hashtags.
Okay, can you give us that travel blogger example again? That really illustrated the niche idea.
Sure. So imagine a travel blogger posts this amazing photo from Iceland using just hashtag travel. It's like a tiny drop in an ocean, right?
It's lost immediately.
Instantly. But if they use hashtag visitisland or hashtag Iceland travel, or maybe even something super specific like hashtag ringroadisland.
Then they're hitting a much smaller but much more interested group.
Exactly. People planning trips there, people who love Iceland content, people sharing their own Iceland photos. That connection leads to much higher quality engagement and, potentially followers who actually care about that specific niche.
Okay, I'm sold on the power. They're clearly vital for getting found by the right people. So how do we actually build a strategy? How do you figure out which tags to use?
Right. That's the next big piece from the sources. And the key message seems to be quality over quantity.
Forget trying to cram in all 30 tags.
Pretty much. The old advice of maxing out your tags. The research suggests that's not really effective anymore. You might even get diminishing returns or look a bit spammy if the tags aren't super relevant.
So less is more, but they have to be the right ones.
Exactly. The sweet spot, according to most sources, seems to be somewhere between, say, 9 and 15 highly relevant hashtags per post.
Okay, 9 to 15. And should those all be the same type of hashtag?
No, definitely not. A good strategy uses a mix. That's another key insight.
A mix, like what?
Well, you need some broader tags for your general topic, like hashtag marketing or hashtag fashion. These have high volume, get you seen by a wider audience interested in the general category.
Okay, the big buckets.
Right. Then you layer on those niche hashtags we talked about, the more specific ones, lower volume maybe, but they define your particular corner. Things like hashtag sustainable fashion brand or hashtag content marketing agency.
Targeting the really engaged audience.
Precisely. And then the third type is your own branded or campaign hashtags.
Ah, like hashtag Necker Run Club, or if you're doing a series, like hashtag My Creative Process.
Exactly. Those build community, help you track specific campaigns, and encourage people to use your tag, too. The sources had a good yoga studio example, right?
Yeah, they used hashtag yoga, which is broad.
Then hashtag Avinya Saflonic, which is niche and local.
And then something like hashtag Namaste Your Way for their own branded challenge.
Right. See how that blend captures different types of interest? Broad reach, specific targeting, and community building, all in one post.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do you find these different types of tags? Where do you start looking?
The sources suggest a few practical methods. First, just do some detective work. Look at top posts and successful accounts in your specific field. What tags are they using that seem to work?
See what the leaders are doing.
Yeah. And don't ignore Instagram's own features. When you start typing a hashtag, it suggests related ones. That's often a goldmine for finding relevant, connected tags.
Like a built-in brainstorming tool.
Kind of, yeah. And then there are external tools the sources mention, like Hashtagify or RightTag. Those can give you more data, like popularity, related tags, performance predictions, stuff like that.
So lots of ways to find them. But finding them isn't the end game, right?
Definitely not. The crucial part, stressed over and over in the sources, is testing and monitoring.
You have to see what actually works for you.
Exactly. It's not a set it and forget it thing. You need to try different combinations, track their performance, and refine your list based on what resonates with your audience and your specific content. It's an ongoing process.
Okay, strategy in place. You've got your potential tags. Now the practical part, actually putting them on the post. Where should they go? Caption, first comment. Does it matter?
That's the classic debate, isn't it? But the consensus from the sources is, well, algorithmically speaking, it doesn't actually make a difference.
Really? Instagram sees them the same either way.
Seems so. Whether they're in the main caption text or you put them right away in the first comment, Instagram processes them for discoverability.
So it just comes down to aesthetics, basically. Readability.
Largely, yeah. A lot of people prefer putting the bulk of their, say, 10 or 15 tags in that first comment just to keep the caption itself looking cleaner, less cluttered.
Makes sense. But you can put some in the caption.
Yes, and that's a tactic highlighted too. Embedding maybe 2 or 3 of your most relevant hashtags directly within the caption text where they fit naturally can be good.
So weaving them in, not just listing them at the end.
Exactly. Like, so excited to share our new hashtag vegan baking series. It feels more organic, less like you're just keyword stuffing. Avoid that wall of hashtags at the end if you can.
Good tip. And what about when you post? Does timing matter for hashtag effectiveness?
Oh, absolutely crucial. Your amazing hashtags won't do much good if your target audience isn't online to see them.
So you need to know when your people are actually scrolling.
Right. Use your Instagram Insights. It tells you when your followers are most active. Aim to post during those peak times.
And consistency plays a role too.
Big time. The sources emphasize that posting quality content regularly, using relevant hashtags consistently over time, signals to Instagram that you're an active, valuable part of those hashtag communities. It builds momentum.
Okay, so you're doing all this good tags, good timing, good placement. How do you actually know if it's working? How do you track the results?
Right. This is where you move from just guessing to knowing. Your first stop should be your Instagram Insights for each post.
What should you look for there?
Look for the metric called Reach from Hashtags. It literally tells you how many accounts saw your post specifically because of the hashtags you used.
Oh, wow. So it directly shows the impact.
It's direct feedback. If you see certain posts getting high reach from hashtags, dig into which tags you used on those posts.
And if a set of tags consistently performs well.
Lean into them. Double down on those successful tags and maybe the type of content you paired them with. For deeper analysis, like comparing different hashtag sets over time, the sources mention using external platforms like Later or Sprout Social for more detailed analytics.
Which leads perfectly into A/B testing, right? Experimenting.
Exactly. The sources really advocate for this. Think of it like running little experiments. Maybe try one set of 12 tags on one post and a slightly different but related set on a similar post later.
And see which one gets better reach from hashtags.
Precisely. Track the results. This iterative testing is how you refine your strategy. It turns guesswork into a data-driven approach, helping you learn what really connects with your specific audience.
Now, this is where it gets really concrete. The sources shared a story, a case study, that shows the real power of this, the Texas boutique.
Yeah, that was a great example. A small boutique in Texas, initially using really generic tags, hashtag style, hashtag shopping, hashtag fashion, just getting lost.
Okay, standard mistake. What did they change?
They completely shifted their strategy based on these principles. They started focusing heavily on super specific, local, and event-related tags.
Like what kinds of tags?
Things like hashtag Fort Worth fashion, hashtag DF boutique, hashtag shop small Fort Worth. And if they were at a local market, they'd use tags specific to that event, like hashtag Fort Worth pop-up. Really drilling down.
And what happened? What was the result of getting that specific?
It was pretty dramatic. They reported within just 3 months a 45% increase in people coming into the actual store who said they found them on Instagram.
Wow, 45% lift in foot traffic.
Yeah. And their engagement rates on posts apparently doubled.
That's incredible, just from changing their hashtag strategy to be more niche and local.
Exactly. It just perfectly illustrates how connecting with a truly relevant audience, even if it's smaller, drives much bigger results, sometimes even offline
Oh,
results.
fantastic example.
Yeah.
It's not all smooth sailing. The sources also warned about common mistakes, right? Pitfalls to avoid.
Oh, yeah, definitely. A big one is still relying too much on those mega popular tags like hashtag love or hashtag Instagood or hashtag photo of the day.
Because your post just vanishes instantly.
Within seconds, yeah. The volume is just astronomical. Unless that tag is incredibly specifically relevant to your exact content, which is rare, it's probably not helping you much.
And you mentioned banned hashtags. That sounds serious.
It is. You have to be careful. Instagram bans certain hashtags, sometimes ones that seem totally innocent if they get overrun with spam or inappropriate content.
And using one by mistake can hurt you.
It can significantly reduce your post's reach. Worst case, it could even contribute to a shadow ban, where your posts become almost invisible to non-followers and you might not even realize it's happening.
Yikes. So you need to check your tags.
Yeah, the sources stress staying updated, periodically audit your go-to tags, maybe check online lists of currently banned hashtags. It's worth the effort.
And the last big no-no,
Yeah.
just copying the same list onto every single post.
Yeah, don't do that. That signals lazy or spammy behavior to Instagram. Your hashtags need to be tailored to the specific content of each post. Think relevance, rotation, not repetition.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful, so let's
Yeah.
try to boil it down. For someone listening right now wanting to put this into action, what are the key takeaways, the first steps?
Right. Actionable steps. First, the sources say, audit what you're doing now. Go into your Instagram insights. Look at that reach from hashtags metric on your recent posts. See what's working, what's not. Find your current winners and losers.
Get a baseline. Then what?
Then build your own resource. Create a hashtag library. Maybe 30 to 50 relevant tags organized by your key content themes or products or location.
Like a personal menu to choose from.
Exactly. So for each post, you can then select the best 10 to 15 tags from your library that are most relevant to that specific piece of content and plan to revisit and update that library maybe monthly or so.
And what about using hashtags for community, like challenges?
Yeah, definitely consider that. Join relevant hashtag challenges that already exist in your niche. Great way to get seen by an engaged community. Or create your own branded hashtag challenge to encourage your audience to create content and build loyalty.
And the final piece is just keep doing it. Keep learning.
Absolutely. This isn't a one-time fix. The sources emphasize ongoing monitoring and iteration. Keep an eye on your analytics, see what's working, tweak your strategy, maybe set aside time quarterly to really review your approach, see what competitors are doing, check out new tools. Stay current.
So really, the core message isn't about finding some secret hashtag trick. It's about being strategic, using data, and focusing on genuinely connecting your content with the right audience.
That's it, exactly. Smart hashtag use is the mechanism that makes your great content discoverable. It helps you attract new followers who are actually interested, and it deepens the connection with your existing community. It's about building something lasting.
It definitely requires some effort.
Yeah.
Research, testing, refining, but applying these principles seems like a clear path to building a stronger presence. Hopefully, you feel ready to start applying some of these strategies today.
And just to reiterate what the sources mention, if you feel like you need more personalized help with this, getting expert guidance for your specific situation, resources like rapidboost.net are out there offering that kind of consultation and data-driven strategy.
Okay, so one final thought to leave you with, building on all this.
Mm-hmm.
Given how much discoverability on a platform like Instagram relies on these platform-specific tools, like hashtags, how much of your overall strategy for getting found should depend on features you don't control versus building more direct lines of connection with your audience, maybe off the platform entirely? Something to think about.